what was it like to be completely solitary?
I think for up to 2 weeks, it's better to be alone. And this is my takeaway from it after doing 7 months in that stretch. For up to 2 weeks, prefer to be alone. After that, you need somebody. Both of their pros and cons, right? Like living, eating, shitting like 2 feet from another man it's not a fun way to live life. But I think after 2 weeks, you just start worrying about the most extreme possible outcomes of everything in life, and you have no soundboard to bring you back to reality. That I think being alone for a certain period of time for too long, it's hard to kind of come back from.
Yeah, I remember I interviewed Michael Franzese,
Okay.
who was a former mafia
familiar with the story,
captain. Yeah. And, I asked him what the worst part of prison was, and he said solitary.
Mm-hmm.
He said humans are just not designed to function that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I have friends who, I would get to know them as they're coming out of prison, and you could tell there's sort of this weird kind of disconnect. They're almost like detached a little bit from reality from doing too much solitary. So
Yes.
I've seen this kind of thing. I mean, it's definitely a form of punishment.
You just worry, like, the guard slipped your food tray at the door. Oh, he looked at me the wrong way. Does that mean I'm in even more trouble? Like, what did I do now? Like, everything becomes like a monumental crisis, right? Like, oh, I didn't get a letter today from my family. Are they dead? Like, did they die in a car crash? Like, everything you think the extreme, and that's what gets really, really scary.
Yeah, and I guess at one point you had a cellmate in solitary.
Yep.
And he had a colostomy bag.
He didn't have the bag, so they called him Bags, ironically, because he had his colon shot out from the police. Didn't have a bag, so everybody called him Bags, and he would literally shit every 30 minutes around the clock.
So you'd have to smell this.
Every 30 minutes. It's like no exaggeration. Just.
I mean, it is prison.
So what happened was my lawyer was complaining that I was in solitary for the podcast for not breaking the rules. And they're like, oh yeah? We'll make it not solitary now, McFarland. And they threw Bags in there. Oh, you think you're funny? You have a lawyer? You think you're cool? Like, all right, here's Bags. And that was yeah.
Okay, so then in 2019, you're 28. You're still in prison.
Yeah.
Netflix and Hulu released documentaries about the Fyre Festival. You've never seen these documentaries?
No, still haven't.
Is it you just can't bring yourself to actually watch it?
Yeah, I think I'm just not mature enough.
Yeah.
Or like I would just start bitching about things that aren't really important, right? It's like, oh, I didn't know him, or I didn't know her, like, and ultimately, like, I fucked up, right? It didn't matter who said what.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in the media, things are out of your control. People do little mini documentaries about me, and I watch them, and I'm like, okay. I mean, it just is what it is.
You get mad,
Yeah, I mean, you put yourself out there, and you got to deal with people interpreting, their own versions of your life, and that's just it. And then while you're locked up, EHL, which I guess was one of the people that gave you money, they sued you and they won a default lawsuit against you for $2.8 million. Okay. Was that because you couldn't show up to court, or?
I was guilty. So I think they were one of the investors for sure.
Okay, but you could have shown up to court to fight it, right?
I could have, yeah.
But you did.
Yeah, at that point it was just.
So what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? Yeah.
Okay.
Just you can't spend your last dollar fighting every case at that point, right?
And then the private island actually hit the market. Was this which island was this? The one they actually.
So this was a small island. Just detached from that Escobar Island. It wasn't the main Escobar Island. It was like a little version of it that we used for a lot of the marketing shoot, and actually sold, I think, partly because of our promo. Yeah.
$11.8 million.
Yeah. So I think they sold. So they probably like us now, right?
Right. Ja Rule gets dismissed from the $100 million lawsuit, and ironically enough, he started an app called Icon, which is an app for talent booking.
Like Icon people? Or?
I don't know. Or Icon, like
I'm
the
a con?
icon.
Yeah.
I would think it's that, but no, I don't think he's conning people.
Got it.
But it seems like it's the same general idea as the original Fyre app of booking celebrities. How do you feel about that?
I think the idea behind Fyre was really good. I think in reality it will take, it takes a lot of money to acquire all the talent buyers out there, to have all the nightclubs know about you, to have all these private buyers know about you. So I think it's a business that requires a lot of capital and a big team to do. I don't think it works on a small scale level. If you're just like being another middleman on the phone, you're not going to go very far, in my opinion. So I think it's a hard business to replicate like that. I mean, like, he started at what, 7 years ago? Has it done anything? I don't know.
I don't think it was that long ago. I think it was a few years ago.
Okay.
Remember he was telling me about it.
Okay.
Over text.
It's a hard business, so yeah.
Yeah. So you don't see it working out?
I don't see it working out.
Okay. And you guys haven't talked since then?
No.
Okay. Grant Margolin.
Mm-hmm.
What is his association with you?
The most talented person I've ever met in my life.
But he was a partner? Or,
he was an employee.
Okay.
He rose to probably being the most senior employee. I had the privilege through Magnesis and Fyre of meeting a lot of, very successful business people who, whether they were advisors or mentors, or I got 30 minutes with them. And I think no one was as impressive as Grant. And like, that's one of those things where like totally makes you feel like shit, where, he got a lot of unwarranted backlash after Fyre and just hasn't been able to recover from that. And that fucking sucks. It's like, I feel like I stunted that trajectory of someone who would have done crazy things in this world.
Right. He got barred for 7 years for being a director or an officer, I guess, for a public company. Mm-hmm. $35,000 penalty, but he didn't admit or deny any SEC charges.
Okay.
Who is Seth Crossno?
Once again, I don't know. I think he's the person who had like some anonymous Twitter account.
Okay.
Am I getting it right or no?
Well, he got a $5 million judgment against you.
Oh, so maybe it's somebody else. Okay, I don't know.
So you don't know who that is?
I don't know. I've heard his name. I thought he was the guy with the anonymous Twitter account, but I might be confusing them.
No.
Yeah, okay.
But are you aware that you're supposed to pay him $5 million?
I think I've fought back on all of the cases that I wasn't guilty on. So I'm not sure what the status there is. There's a lot of like these little local ones around the country that unfortunately a large part of my income goes to fighting right now.
Right. 2020, COVID hits.
Yeah.
You try to get a compassionate release.
Yeah.
You didn't get it. You catch COVID.
Mm-hmm.
That next year, 2021, Fyre Festival actually reached a $2 million settlement in the class action lawsuit.
Okay.
So are you on the hook for that $2 million or?
I didn't even know.
Okay.
Yeah. I think like the reality is there's probably 6 ongoing things that, my lawyers for better or worse are dealing with. And so, yeah, I think like if I get caught up in the weeds of every single one, I couldn't make progress. And the only way that I'll be able to repay people both with trust and with money is to work and build something, right? So I'm trying to like focus as much as I can on moving myself forward and then getting proper help to, make good on what's actually owed.
Right, because didn't a fellow prisoner sue you for $650,000?
Yeah.
Over fraud?
Yeah.
What's that over?
I think he abandoned his lawsuit. I think it was like a 15-minute of fame grab for him.
Okay.
But it was a child predator who lied about that, who was trying to woo me with gifts.
Okay.
And then once he found the truth out, just said, hey, we're not friends anymore. And
okay.
I think he did a lawsuit, but didn't actually do the lawsuit. Like never served me, never proceeded with it.
What did he give you?
He tried to buy me a Sprinter, and then like when I was on home confinement, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And then like his entire case was sealed except for one file.
Huh.
And then that one file basically, if someone found it, sent it to me, and that was the end of the story.